Mark Stinson, aviation ordnanceman, third class. In '71, went to the Mediterranean. I thought that by then by the first of the year I had been moved to the flight deck. There was 3 of us out of the 40-man division that worked the flight deck, and we were responsible for seeing that the load plans for the day were, which is basically what aircraft from each squadron was going to fly and what they were going to carry for weapons, to make sure that there were the right weapons on deck for those various launches. I didn't particularly care for the Mediterranean. I thought it was boring. So we got back about Christmas time of '71. In '72, we were scheduled to go back to the Med in June. I came back from leave to bring my car home, and I had heard a rumor that maybe we weren't going back to the Med. And when I walked up on Pier 12, they were offloading the inert nuclear weapons, and I said, I guess we're not going back to the Med. And so on June 6th, I think, we left Pier 12, and out in the Chesapeake Bay, the captain came over and told us where we were going. And I think everybody on the ship was happy we were going. At least I was. I know the guys that I worked with were going back over there. It was, the ports we enjoyed more, and it was more exciting. The working on the flight deck of an aircraft carrier is probably the most exciting place in the world to work. You have to pay attention, and it's very exciting. We spent, I don't recall when we got there. It takes about 30 days to transit from Norfolk to Subic Bay in the Philippines. We went to Singapore, Hong Kong. I think that was it, maybe Manila. I have some very vivid memories of that particular cruise because a lot of things happened. I had my first Vietnam cruise. I didn't work on the flight deck, and I really didn't know what went on the roof. And during this cruise, it was different. I was on the flight deck 16, 18 hours a day during flight quarters, and got to know faces, and probably the most vivid memory was the CO of VA 35, Commander Donnelly, he always had a smile on his face. He had a beard, he had one of those old leather flying helmets, and every time he came up on deck, he was always smiling. And I remember one night, he went out on a midnight launch, I think, and he was carrying rock eyes that the missile crew we had to make sure that the proper weapons were on aircraft, what aircraft they were on, what the serial numbers were on all the missiles and bombs that were on. And so when the aircraft came back, we had to check the aircraft to see what was expended and account for the various serial numbers. And I remember that night that he went out, and we used to launch every hour and 45 minutes. And after the second launch, you'd recover the first launch. And his aircraft didn't come back. And so I went into flight deck control and asked, where at 525, whatever the number was, and they said they didn't know. So a lot of times, if aircraft would have problems, mechanical problems, they would just go to Da Nang on the ground. And so we launched the second launch, and the second launch recovered, and still no aircraft. And so I asked 2 or 3 times during the night, and they didn't know where he went. So what happened to him? And usually with the A6s, they did solo, low-level bombing runs. And somebody had told me in the squadron that somebody saw a flash in the sky where he was supposed to be. But anyway, about 20 years ago, I was checking a website. I think it was the America website or something associated with the America, and they had found his remains anyway. And but there were other pilots that we lost too. That one I didn't know him personally, but he just was such a happy-go-lucky guy, and just had an impact on me when I think about it. And but anyway, we 72, 73, we stayed there right up until the time that the peace agreement was signed, and we headed home sometime in February and due to be home on the 24th of March. They were going to fly me home, and I said, look, it's only 30 days. I've been on the ship for over 3 years. Another 30 days isn't going to make a difference. And so my last day aboard ship was just waiting for the ship to get in to tie up at Pier 12 in Norfolk. I didn't think about it a lot. We got home on March 24th of '73, which was the day I was scheduled to get out anyway. I wasn't anxious to get out. It was a good time in my life. I grew up a lot, and I don't have any regrets. I met a lot of good people, and saw a lot of the world. And when anybody asks me what branch of the service to go in, I say go in the Navy. I'll go in Navy aviation. Nothing personal.